Okay, this is gonna be a story time. So basically I kind of got this idea because I follow a YouTuber, Mo Money, and I love watching her story times of like all the stuff she's been through. So I thought, what is the best way to kind of for people to get to know me, kind of just tell a little bit about myself without like being cheesy. So I'm gonna start this off by saying I know what I did was wrong. Like, I know I was completely wrong for what I did, but at the time that I did it, I felt like I was being called to do this. Like, I believe in the angels, I believe in divine guidance. I believe that when you feel spirit talking to you, like, you need to listen. So for the sake of privacy and identity protection, I'm gonna change the name in the story. So how this all started was Daniel, we'll call him Daniel. So Daniel was a friend of mine that we had known each other for years. Like, I think at that time would have been like 7 years or so, give or take. And I will be completely honest, because I don't like to lie. I'm not a liar, and I don't want to lie to myself. So to be completely honest, I had the biggest crush on Daniel. So when Daniel and I, we would like get together, we would have a good time, this, that. I knew like he didn't see me in that way where it was like, oh, I want to be with this person. Like, I knew that. But like, me being dumb and still like hoping, I would like go along with everything. I was always like kind of trying to be chill, but deep inside I was dying. So for some years, let me just drink a little bit more. So for years and years we would see each other, we would hang out, whatever, and I would just kind of like drop hints, and I feel embarrassed thinking about it now, but oh well, who cares? At the time I didn't care. So I feel like embarrassed saying this, but like I would like kind of like hint like, hey, like, you know, what do you think about me? Like, what is it that you like see in me? And he would just be like, oh, like, you're a good friend. So I was friend zoned so bad. And so one day, like, I would like not hear from Daniel for a while. Like, he would kind of disappear and then come back around. I'm just like, what's going on with you? So one day I don't hear from Daniel for a long time after I like had one time confessed my feelings to him, and I'm just like, fuck, like, ruined a friendship. I don't hear from Daniel, right? And I get this text message like, hey, like, can you come pick me up? I'm really drunk. And at that time I was surprised because he was supposed to be like not drinking and, you know, getting his life together, things like that. So I was like so surprised and kind of disappointed, and I just kind of knew something was wrong with him because of the way he just kind of disappeared. And so I see him and I take him home, and that's that. Like, I'm just like, you know what, like, I'm your friend, you shouldn't be like scared to tell me things like when you're going through things, especially like if you're like drinking again. So then I don't hear from him. Weeks later, another time, hey, I'm like drunk, can you come pick me up? So I go pick him up, and in the summer, it's like, this was summertime, so we get like these ugly storms here in Arizona. So anybody in Arizona knows, like, it's like literally like thick dirt you cannot see. And I'm driving in this store going to pick him up because he's so drunk. And so I go and pick him up, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take you to my apartment because where you live is too far. And so I'm like, he's so wasted to the point he can't even walk, and he's like stumbling and falling everywhere, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, like, I'm like, really, you have to be drunk right now? So I ended up putting him in my bed, like, to go to sleep. And I'm like, okay, you just sleep in my bed, I'm gonna go sleep in my living room. And so I'm just like in my living room, kind of like tossing and turning. Like, I just like cannot fall asleep. At this point it's like 4 in the morning, And I'm like, I really need to go to sleep. But my mind wouldn't let me. So as like an hour went by of me just kind of like staring at my ceiling, I go to my kitchen and I start doing my dishes, right? Like, I had this like in my head, something telling me like, go to the kitchen, go, like just go to the kitchen. It was just weird. So I was like, man, I can't relax, so I'm gonna go do my dishes. I go and do my dishes and I look and I see Daniel's phone and I'm like, ooh, I want to look at it, right? Like, and I want to just fully say, I'm aware that it's wrong to go through somebody's phone. It's wrong to invade someone's privacy. And he wasn't my man for me to do that. And even if he was my man, it would still be wrong, right? It's wrong to do that. But this was years ago, and I had this feeling in me like, you need to look at his phone. And I was just kind of like, oh, like he's knocked out, drunk. I don't think he's gonna wake up. So I grab his phone. And I just want to say, like, I was not prepared for what I saw. So I start going through his phone. I turn it on and I'm like, it's not locked. I start looking at Snapchat. And you know, Snapchat, this was like years ago, so I don't think at that time you could like kind of ghost open it, where you can like slide it and not open it all the way type of deal. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna open these Snapchats. He's gonna be too fucking drunk to even remember if he opened these messages or not. So there I go. I start opening messages and I'm just like, oh my god, what? It's like 12, 15, I don't even know. There was like a whole like list of girls. I guess he like, what I think is like, he hit up so many girls to see like who would contact, like who would respond first. So I'm like opening these and it's like, I have a man now, or no, I can't go see you, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Like, I'm just like, oh my god. Like, he didn't just like text me like, hey, can you come pick me up? He texts like a list, and I was the dummy who was like, yeah, I'll go pick you up. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I kind of cringe when I think about it, but let that be a lesson, right? Like, everything we go through in life, it is a lesson. If you don't grow from it, you're gonna go through it again. So I was like, oh, I can't take this. So I'm literally like shaking. My hands are like shaking, and I'm in my kitchen like, oh my god, like this is too much. It gets better. I go to his messages and I'm like, I see like a message. I'm like, should I open this? Like, read these messages? He had a whole ass girlfriend, okay? And I'm not talking about like, it's just a like a little like a new relationship. No, they were in love. Like, these messages, and I was like going far back, and I was like, oh my god, like this whole time, like, failed to mention that he has a girlfriend. So I fucking like was like, oh, this, like, I felt like, oh my god, like, oh my god, like I didn't even know how to act. I was like shaking. So at that point, it had to have been like 6 in the morning. So I kind of like relaxed a little, and I'm just like thinking about it. I'm just like, do you ever see something that it literally like changes your perspective. It changes like how you see somebody. It changed, basically what happened, it just like kind of changed how I looked at him, like completely as a person. I just didn't see him the same anymore. And that broke my heart, because at that point it had been like 7 years of basically like me wasting my time. So I don't say nothing, right? I'm just like quiet. I call my friends and I'm like, I call my girl Claudia and she's like, wake him up, throw water on him, like tell him to get the fuck out. And I'm just like, yo, like I can't do that. And I'm just like, he's not my man, like I can't do that. Like, if Daniel finds out that I went through his phone, like I didn't really care, but you pick and choose your battles, and that wasn't a fight I wanted. So I was like, you know, real calm. And when you're calm about something, you know it's over. When you're so calm about something being over, that means that's because it's over. It's done. So I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna chill. So I start getting ready. Like, mind you, I haven't even slept. I'm in my bathroom and Daniel's asleep, and I'm just like making noise, like slamming drawers and doing things, washing my face. I started doing my makeup and he's like, oh, like you have plans today? And I'm like, yeah, I have plans, I have places to go, like nowhere to go. I had nowhere. I wasn't going anywhere. I was gonna literally like reevaluate my life. So I'm like, hey, yeah, like are you ready to go, like so I can drop you back off at your car? And he's like, yeah. And he's just like having conversation with me, and I'm just like, yeah, like, you know, whatever. But in my mind I was like, it's done. Like, don't have guilt about going through his phone, even though I know it's wrong. And today I wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't suggest anybody to do that, because you have to prepare yourself for like what's to come next, right? So I was just kind of like, yeah, you know, cool, whatever, like playing it off. And I drop him off and I'm like, hey, see you later, talk to you later, whatever. I just knew like, nope. So I ended up seeing like Daniel months later again, and it was just kind of like that feeling when you know something's over. Like you see someone, you're just like, I'm not fucking with you. I hope that if Daniel watches this video, he doesn't figure out that he's Daniel. And if he does, oh well. Embarrassing for me to kind of share that, because I'm not proud of that moment. I wouldn't do that again. I've grown since then in many ways. I wouldn't do it again. So I keep telling myself that, like, oh, I wouldn't do that again, because that broke my heart, and I wasn't ready for that heartbreak. You never are ready for that type of like surprise. Yeah, he has other bitches, and not just that, but he had like a full-on girlfriend and like little family. Don't come for me, because I know what I did wasn't right, and I wouldn't do that again. And everything's a lesson. So I learned my lesson. It's, you know, it shook me to my core. But I don't know. That is what I experienced. Let me know if you've ever had like some sort of like situation, maybe not exactly what I was going through with Daniel. If you ever went through someone's phone, because that shit will fuck you up. I'll leave it at that. So hopefully I taught you guys something, or I shared a little bit about myself. And until next time.